There is a large and major difference between cell contents and cell formatting. Should we wish to get rid of one or the other, it's different commands. Take our sales data H file, for example. If I wanted to change north for a different region, I would click on the cell, press delete on the keyboard, and that would remove the word north, but not the formatting. That cell is still got a green background and white text. If I were to then type in Asia, you'd see that it still appears the same. So the delete key simply removes the contents, and that applies to any cell. Take away the 54, type in another number, and it's still formatted exactly the same. The cell is not changed. Now that seems quite useful, but it can have its drawbacks. If I pick a cell over here, for example, and put in my date of birth, fine, it works, it displays my date of birth. I then delete my date of birth, and the cell looks empty, and it is empty. However, the date formatting has been retained. If I then go back to that cell and try and type a number in and return, it actually converts that number into date format, which happens to be December the 13th, 1920. So you have to be a little bit careful when deleting cells. Do you mean just to take the content out, as we did in our table here? Or do you need to remove not only the content, but also the formatting? If you need to remove both, as we would do here, then a simple delete key is not enough. We actually need to delete the cell, which we do by going to the home ribbon, delete, there's a little drop down next to it, and cells. Now when you're deleting a single cell, you've got to decide where the other cells move. Do they all move up, or do they all move to the left? Well, let's move all the cells up. It actually makes no difference here because there's no further content. So let's say OK. That then looks the same as when we press delete, but this time it's removed the cell, which includes the formatting and the content, and has replaced it with the cell below, and all the cells below have all shifted up. So I now click on to I4 and type 7,358 in and press return. It retains because I've removed the formatting. So although just pressing delete key sounds great, that only removes the contents, I still have my pretty table, I can carry on typing. It can have its drawbacks, and it's just to be aware of that. When you delete something from a cell, you do not delete the formatting, and you could come back later and the formatting in there could be a totally different number format that could then make your spreadsheet look a bit funny. Now if we just want to remove just the formatting but not the contents, then we have another set of actions. Let's remove that from there. Let's put back my date of birth and then delete and put my number in that I was after. So let's go for 4632. Now that formats it as a date, but I don't want date formatting on there. So I have a number of choices. I could either go to the number and go back to general, and that will revert things back to, in this case, the raw number underneath, which is 4632. That's one option, undo. Or I could go to the home ribbon and go to cell styles. Now the cell styles can get really quite complicated, but all we're interested in here for removing all of the formatting we've ever put on is to go back to normal here, top left hand side, normal, and that takes all the formatting off. So that's color, everything, etc. And you can see we get 4632 again. So let's undo. So we get the date formatting back. And then the third option is actually just to pick a cell that you know has been untouched, so hasn't got any crazy formatting involved, and use the format painter. So we could format paint that cell there, and then paste that onto this cell, and I get my 4632. Now, dealing with that cell has only been dealing with removing the date formatting. If we were dealing with this cell here, and we wanted to remove all the formatting, so that would be alignment, orientation, green background, the white text, then the quickest thing to do here will be to go to the cell styles and choose normal. And you can see that reverts it back to aligned bottom, aligned left, black text, white background, and no border. So completely removes everything back down to the base formatting. So all you're needing to take on board here is that there is a difference between the contents and the format. And deleting one does not necessarily delete the other. It's done for a reason, so that when you have pretty tables like this and you delete some data, the pretty table remains. But then there are times when you want to remove the formatting, as we had over here when we had the date formatting on. And removing the formatting either involves deleting the whole cell, or removing the formatting by using the cell styles normal to tell it revert back to normal. Or you can take off the formatting that you don't like, so you could go to number and change that to general. You could go to the background and change it to no fill. So you could go through the steps of actually taking off the formatting that you don't require. Or cleverly, we can use our format painter again to format paint from a blank cell onto the cell that you wish to remove the formatting for. So that's deleting contents or formatting or both.